Why does accountability matter, and what does it have to do for your mindset and your financial growth? Well, in 5 practices, I will tell you how. I'm Jackie Gonzales. It's nice to meet you. If you're a subscriber, thank you so much. If you're new, please subscribe, comment, like, share, and turn on notifications. So today we're asking ourselves why accountability matters. This is the heart of the 5 practices to social wealth, creating a life where personal growth and meaningful connections flourish through intentional accountability. Accountability is the cornerstone of building meaningful relationships, fostering self respect, and creating the boundaries that lead to personal and social wealth. Because if you make excuses all the time, how are you in a mindset to even be responsible to make more money? In a world that often encourages external blame on the economy, circumstances, or others, we lose sight of the power of accountability, which gives us to shape our own reality. As someone with a background in undergrad in MSCD in Communications and Learning Sciences, combined with international studies in intercultural communications and a bilingual upbringing, I've come to see accountability as a universal tool. It bridges emotional awareness with rational decision making, guiding us toward personal growth and deeper connections with others, which explores how personal development can lead to richer, more fulfilling social and emotional lives. So let's dive into it. Let's dive in how accountability fosters growth using both scientific insights and practical strategies. The psychology of accountability. At its core, accountability is about recognizing how your actions shape the world around you. This concept is rooted in brain science, particularly in the interplay between the frontal lobe and the amygdala. The frontal lobe, right here, both sides, located at the front of the brain, is responsible for higher order thinking, reasoning, decision making, and language processing. It's what allows us to reflect, communicate, and find solutions. However, when we're stressed or reactive, the amygdala, the brain's emotional center, can hijack that system. This fight or flight response reduces blood flow to the frontal lobe, making it exponentially harder to think clearly, use reason, or engage in meaningful dialogue. In these moments, accountability requires conscious effort, practicing delayed responses, meaning pausing to take deep breaths or even stepping away physically can help deflect the reactive tendencies of the amygdala, the primitive part of the brain. It's why when you get angry, you start to use less words and more actions because your reasoning and logic is getting reduced and it's flowing towards the primitive part, which is hunger, violence, and doing what you need to survive. So you want to pause to take deep breaths or even stepping away physically because your physical action follows the emotional and vice versa. And this can help deflect the reactive tendencies of the amygdala. This allows blood flow to return to the frontal lobe, enabling you to process emotions and respond rationally. Delayed responses are critical for accountability as they help us regain control over our actions and avoid causing harm both to ourselves and others. This is a key element of the 4th practice we'll explore below. Accountability as a path to social wealth. Accountability is a transformative practice. Think of it as growing wings. Each feather represents a moment of self awareness, a mistake owned, or a lesson learned. Over time, these moments accumulate, allowing you to rise above blame and excuses. With accountability, you gain perspective, understanding how your choices influence not only your own life, but also the lives of those around you. Blame, by contrast, keeps you stuck. When we say it's their fault or I don't need to change, I'm perfect, we revert to a childlike mindset that prevents growth. No one is perfect, and denying our mistakes only leads to frustration and stagnation. Recognizing mistakes is not a weakness, it's a strength. It's an act of self respect that frees you to grow and create meaningful change. So, The 5 practices to social wealth are through accountability. Each is designed to build self-respect, create healthy boundaries, and foster richer social and emotional lives. So, to commence, you'd want to start with recognizing the problem to find the solution. Accountability begins with acknowledgement. You can't solve a problem without recognizing it first. While problem may seem like a negative word, it's simply a starting point for improvement. When you avoid acknowledging mistakes, you limit your potential for growth. Accountability requires honesty with yourself, even when it's uncomfortable. Accepting responsibility doesn't mean dwelling on guilt. It means identifying what went wrong so you can make it right. Secondly, we want to understand that that our emotions and all of our energy has an impact on the world around us. Every action you take creates a ripple effect, influencing the people and environment around you. Accountability reminds you that you are not a passive participant in life. You are an active creator of your experiences. By becoming aware of your impact, you gain the power to create positive change. For example, if your words or actions unintentionally hurt someone, taking responsibility and making amends strengthens trust and deepens your relationships. Thirdly, you want to engage the frontal lobe through mindful practices. In moments of stress or conflict, the brain's fight or flight response can take over, leading to reactive behavior, and we do not want reactive behavior. To counter this, you need to cautiously re-engage the frontal lobe through mindful practices like deep breathing. Deep breathing slows your heart rate, reduces stress, and redirects blood flow to the frontal lobe. Thus, your logic and your word use increases. There's a trick where you could tell if you're becoming reactive is that your vocabulary diminishes. So you want to always be in control of yourself. And by doing this, you're allowing space to do that by taking deep breaths. This allows you to process emotions and make thoughtful decisions rather than impulsive ones. By practicing mindfulness regularly, you can train your brain to respond to challenges with greater clarity and composure. Now, you want to use physical movements to regain emotional balance. Your physical actions directly influence your emotional state. Stepping back from a tense situation or taking a walk can symbolize an emotional reset, helping you regain clarity. Body language is also important. Sitting with open hands in a calm posture signals a willingness to listen and engage. Conversely, standing defensively or pacing can project aggression. You don't want that, and it creates unnecessary tension. Choosing peaceful physical moments fosters trust and helps de-escalate conflicts. Additionally, remember that words have power. Studies show that verbal attacks can cause emotional pain comparable to physical harm. By pausing, stepping back, and reconsidering your words, you can avoid damage that may be difficult to repair. And this can also be financially. If you are haggling with someone and you lose your cool in a business deal, guess what? You're not going to be making money. You're going to lose that business deal. You want to stay cool, calm, and collected. That is the one who always wins. Lastly, number 5, you want to practice mindfulness to strengthen accountability. Mindfulness is the foundation of accountability. It involves being present, aware of your emotions, and intentional with your actions. Practice mindfulness helps you recognize your emotional triggers and patterns, allowing you to navigate challenges with greater understanding. This self-awareness not only improves your relationships, but also reinforces your commitment to self-respect and personal growth. And just to further explain my point, the brain's role in accountability, the frontal lobe and the amygdala. Accountability starts in the brain. This is why we're rewiring our brain, where the interplay between the frontal lobe and the amygdala determines how we respond to challenges. The frontal lobe is responsible for our higher order functions like reasoning, decision making, and language processing. It enables us to reflect, analyze situations, and respond thoughtfully. The amygdala, on the other hand, is part of the brain's limbic system, and that governs emotional reactions, particularly fear or stress. When the amygdala is triggered, such as in moments of conflict or high emotion, It activates the fight or flight response. This is our parasympathetic and sympathetic system. This survival mechanism directs blood flow away from the frontal lobe to prepare the body for immediate action. While this response is vital in dangerous situations, it can undermine our ability to communicate effectively and practice accountability in non-life-threatening moments. Again, you really want to go to that primitive part of your brain when you're in survival mode. If you're scarce on resources and you're very hungry and someone has those resources and you're on a ship and you're shipwrecked and you need to get their food, that amygdala is great. But if you're in a business situation or you're at work and you're in an argument with a fellow coworker, you do not want to be reactive. That is when you fail. So we want to keep our logic, and money requires logic. So when blood flow is reduced to the frontal lobe, we're suffering from a lack of oxygen to our reasoning. And our self-control is thus compromised, leading to impulsive reactions or defensiveness. This is why people often say or do things in anger that they later regret, because in the moment, they're listening to their emotions, c'est les émotions qui leur emportent. So it's their emotions that are carrying them away instead of using their logic. This is why practicing delayed response is one of the most effective ways to counteract the amygdala's hijacking of the brain. Taking a physical step back, walking away, or even pausing for 3 deep breaths helps calm the amygdala and re-engage the frontal lobe. This not only restores rational thinking, but also allows space for reflection and accountability. You are always responsible for how you behave and how you react. Understanding the brain's role in accountability empowers us to make better choices. By recognizing when the amygdala is in control, we can intentionally slow down, regain clarity, and respond in a way that aligns with our values. Accountability in a bilingual perspective. So this is just to know a little bit more about me. I am bilingual, je suis bilingue, je parle français et anglais, so I speak French and English. Je suis diplômée à la langue française et aussi j'ai un master dans l'éducation. So I have an education and a master's in education, and I have a French degree from La Sorbonne and also from le ministère de l'Éducation in France. And my undergrad is in organizational communications. I did a study abroad in Thailand, Cambodia, Vietnam, and China. And my master's is in a Master of Science in the Applied Learning Sciences, so curriculum design and education. And my studies in French language and culture, along with my Master's of Science and my intercultural communication, has created a very unique perspective. For example, par exemple, la culture française, c'est plus les sous-entendus, so it's more nuanced. Et il y a une opportunité pour vraiment écouter les gens. Parce que la psychologie, en fait, c'est né là-bas, c'est né en France, à Paris. So psychology was made and born in France, and it is more of a reflection in France. It's more of a verbal language, where I feel that being American, because I learned French at 17, that Americans usually act first and then think later. And that's why French and American relationships are sometimes a little more difficult, because French people have more liberty to say things without people taking it. C'est moins réactif, so it's like less reactive, because you can say something, on peut faire les blagues, and we can have jokes and it's okay. But if you're American and you say something, people are like, what? And then it's like, oh my God. So there is a difference. And I feel that sometimes that doesn't always translate, especially in our personal lives. There's often a focus on the positive. There's also a focus in American culture and language on solutions and actionable steps. But c'est plus agressif, je trouve, plutôt que la langue française et la culture française. C'est, je sais pas comment expliquer, mais c'est plus logique en France plutôt qu'ici. It's a little bit more logical, and it makes more sense and more rational in Europe than it is in the United States. But that is okay, and that is my perspective. C'est mon point de vue, c'est juste ça. So combining these perspectives has taught me that accountability requires balance Yeah, en équilibre. So there's introspection to understand emotions paired with action to create meaningful change. And the bigger picture is that accountability isn't just a personal practice, it's a pathway to social wealth. When you embrace accountability, you build self respect, you strengthen your relationships, and you create a life of intention and fulfillment. By recognizing your impact, calming your emotions, and practicing mindfulness, you free yourself from the cycles of blame and perfectionism. You grow wings, feather by feather, and learn to soar above excuses and self doubt. This is the heart of the five practices to social wealth, creating a life where personal growth and meaningful connections flourish through intentional accountability. I like to write a lot, so I wrote this down. You can only attract money into your life if you invest in your mental health and have an abundance mindset. You want abundance, and a part of that is realizing that you are responsible for your life. So I want you to take a moment to pause, breathe, and reflect. Your actions shape your reality, and by owning them, you unlock the power to build a richer, more purposeful life. This is Jackie Gonzales. Thank you so much for listening to my podcast. Please like, subscribe, comment, and share. And don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss any episodes. Have a great night and a great weekend, and I'll see you tomorrow.